Guys, the topic that we're going to start today is Google Analytics. Now, I'm already guessing that you must have gone through various other modules of digital marketing by now. All of you must be having your websites as well. So, do all of you have your WordPress websites? Perfect. So, I mean, you might be already aware of various ways of promoting your website. For example, Google Ads, social media. Then you have search engine optimization. So I'm guessing you must be familiar with all of these terms already, since now you have reached the analytics module. So guys, let's first understand what is web analytics and what is the need of web analytics. So basically, web analytics is just it's just all about tracking data that is coming onto your website. So I'm going to explain everything to you in very layman terms, especially for today's session since it's just the introduction today. So let's start with the meaning and need of web analytics. So tracking all the data of traffic coming onto your website, getting all the details about people, traffic is people that are coming to your website. So let's first of all try to name a few types of details which we can get using this Google Analytics. So, what sort of details can we fetch? Now, I want you guys to make a few wild guesses about what sort of details you think that we can guess, that we can fetch. So, any guesses? Views, clicks. Okay, perfect. So, Sharika says views, clicks. Conversions, yes. Conversions. So conversions can be sales, they can be events, any objective that is being fulfilled. Location, demographics, yes, demographics and location. Subscribers, not really, Suraj. So subscribers is something which we cannot find using Google Analytics. Customer demographics are again divided into two parts. So you can identify age and you can also identify gender under demographics. User persona, again, keep the user persona cannot really be identified using analytics, but there are certain elements which can help you build that user persona. So I'll tell you what are those elements. So they are known as affinity categories and in market segments. So we're going to come to affinity categories and in-market segments again, to have a better understanding of these two terminologies. But in a nutshell, if you want me to give you an layman approach, on these terms, then it means likes and interests. So roughly, likes and interests will be called, uh, you know, affinity categories and in-market segments. So the core explanation we'll take up in a little while. Okay, so Shweta has given us a really good example, drop-offs. Drop-off. So what is a drop-off? So drop-offs are basically people who have left, navigated away from a specific page on our website. Or let's say if we take up a particular conversion funnel, for example, then they have just navigated away from one step, from some step of the funnel. So those are drop-offs. What else, guys, apart from this? Anything else you want to add to the list? Schedule. I mean, most visited time and day. Yes, you can get those details as well. So I'll give you the technical term for the same. So it's known as hour of the day and day of the week, which you're also referring to as schedule. Anything else apart from this you want to add? So guys, how do you access your internet? No, Amit, email IDs is not something which we can fetch using analytics. That's not really an option. IP. IP again, not really. Can't track IPs also. So for IP tracking, you'll have to refer to a different tool. Advertisement, yes. Ad results and performance. So talking about Google Ads. Google Ads results in performance, mobile and desktop devices. So yes, that's another good example. So the answer that I was looking for is device usage, mobile, tablet, and desktop. Feedback, customer feedback about their website experience, that is also not a part of analytics. So competition data is again not part of analytics because analytics will only give you details about your own website. So for competitor analysis, we need to refer to other tools. So next will be traffic sources. For example, social media, organic. Organic means when people search on Google. Direct. Direct means that people are directly typing in the link of your website. Referral. Referral means that someone is coming from a backlink. Are you familiar with the word backlink? Perfect. So referral means that people are coming from a backlink or from an inbound link. So apart from this, email can also be one channel. So email kind of becomes part of referral only. So these are mainly the four different options. So another one is inorganic. Inorganic or paid when people are coming through ads. All right. Most used keywords. Yes. Most used keywords slash search terms slash search queries. Queries, keywords, terms, everything means the same. So for this, you need to integrate analytics with Google Search Console. Anything else apart from this? Any more inputs? So guys, in a nutshell, basically these are all the major things which you can track. So let's have a look at them once again before we proceed further. So we have views, we have clicks. So let's also add sessions to this, unique visitors. So views and sessions is slightly different. So I'll just make it page views. So page views means every individual page, how many time is it being viewed? So that is page views. Clicks, Not really clicks, not in terms of the website, but in terms of advertisements. Yes, you can track clicks in terms of Google Ads, not the organic ones. Then you can also get real-time analytics. So real-time user report can also be generated. Then sessions is basically the number of times your website has been opened during the entire day or during a particular period of time. So that is basically sessions. Then you have unique visitors. Unique visitors is the unique number of people coming to your website. So right now we have 22 people who have joined into our session right now. So out of these 22 people, let's say all of us visit our website. So that means the unique number of visitors will be 22, but the number of sessions can vary because one person might be going to the same website for a second time. In the span of this entire day, it might not be your first session on that website. So depending on how many times you have visited that website, the sessions data will vary, but the unique visitors data will remain the same. And page views will again refer to how many pages are viewed in a particular session. Okay. Sharika, you're actually a little mistaken there. So I was mentioning that clicks can be counted only for paid ads. So that's what I was saying. Not for your organic traffic, but for your paid ads, you can count the clicks. All right. So then you have conversions. Let's add goals also to this goal tracking. So goal is basically any particular macro conversion that you want to track. So you can set up your entire conversion funnel. For example, if I take you to one website, let's take you to motherlandhospital.com. So guys, right now we're on this website as you can see. So suppose I want to track all the people who are coming to the home page, then going to the inquiries page, and then filling up this particular form. So once you fill up the form, once you send the form, that should be the last step that I want to track. So I can simply create a conversion funnel for this, goal for this in analytics, and then all my website data will start getting tracked. So basically, what it's going to do is it will only add those people as successful conversions who are first coming to the home page, then going to the inquiries page, and then filling up the form. So let me repeat that again. Only those people who fill up all these steps, who basically conduct all these steps, only they would be added as conversions in that particular goal flow. All right. So going forward, you can track location. So location you can track based on country and city, also states. Then you can also track languages, internet service providers. For example, Jio, Airtel, Vodafone, or any other, company for that matter. Then you can also track so locations we've written, languages, internet service providers. All right. So devices we have already mentioned. Demographics, so age and gender. These are two things under demographics which you can identify. Then let's come to affinity categories and in market segments. So guys, let me kind of explain you what really means by these two terms. So do you want to make a wild guess what exactly this would mean? Anyone who has any clue, any idea about affinity categories? Travel, music, hobbies, if you are searching about the product or service. So Vikas has given us the closest answer right now, but Vikas, not really. It's not exactly, I mean, what you have mentioned, but you're very close. So anyone else who wants to make a guess? Potential customer who are searching for a specific brand. So Kirti again very close. All right. So now we have received the perfect answer from Vikas. So he says people
Vaishnava.
who are long term interested in a topic. For example, photography. So anyone who has a long term interest in a particular topic becomes part of that affinity category. So these affinity categories have very fancy names. For example, people who like photography, they are known as shutterbugs under the list of affinity categories. So shutterbugs are again, it's kind of evident, right? It obviously refers to people who love photography. So these individuals, they have a long-term interest in a topic, and they are constantly searching about relevant content in context of that particular topic only I'm talking. So they're always looking for relevant content on the internet, on Google search. So always looking for relevant, or let's call it always hunting for content related to that topic. So for example, if I want to learn digital marketing, I might be searching for digital marketing, for a very long time. Let's say if I constantly search about what is the meaning of digital marketing, what are the different courses available, what are the careers that I can make through digital marketing. If I keep on doing all of that for, let's say, about 2 to 3 months, then I will become a part of a affinity category which consists of people who are interested in digital marketing. So this is basically affinity categories. So if you want to put it in more layman words, then you should not write likes or interests. So probably you can write long-term interest or passion of an individual. Okay. So these are basically affinity categories. Now, what are in-market segments? So in-market segments, again, I'm going to pick up from Vikas's example only. Like he had mentioned, if you are researching about the product or service. So what happens in in market segments is these will contain these contain momentary interests of people. Somebody searching for a particular product or topic on Google will become a part of an in market segment related to that topic or product. Suppose if you want to buy a television and you go on to Google and you search for, let's say, buy televisions online, then you are basically a part of the in market segment that wants to buy televisions. So that segment might just be named as television only. But if you're a television buff, if you're a TV show fan, then you're a part of an affinity category. So you're getting the point, right? So we have a few more comments. Let's go through those comments. So Monisha says make users aware of the product or service. Not really, Monisha. So I hope you've gotten your answer now. Snehal, target audience likes hobbies and lifestyle. So lifestyle is basically part of affinity category. So passion slash lifestyle. So lifestyle is the most appropriate word if you want to describe affinity categories. So Aman says like in YouTube. So Aman, do you want to elaborate a little more on the point that you want to add? So you can do that. Now let's look at the list of in-market segments and affinity categories. Okay, so YouTube suggesting you specific videos is because of affinity categories only. So because you become more interested in a typical type of content in a particular, topic. So that is why they show you, related videos more often. So list of affinity groups in Google. So guys, these are the different affinity categories available in Google. So have you guys finished your Google Ads module? All right, perfect. So I'm guessing that you are already familiar about all these different words in that case. So have you seen these terminologies previously in Google Ads while creating display campaigns? Perfect. Yes, Funam. So basically, if you search only once, then you become a part of the in-market segment. But if you're constantly searching, then you become a part of the affinity category. So someone who's long-term interested in comics and animation will come under the affinity of comics and animation fans. Someone who loves cooking, someone who likes watching cooking related videos on YouTube, searching for recipes on Google, that person will come under cooking enthusiast. Then similarly, you have your cooking enthusiast, 30-minute chefs. So people who are looking for for smaller recipes, for let's say recipes which are less complex. Then you have thrill seekers, travel buffs. Then under travel buffs also you have various different subcategories like beach-bound travelers, family vacationers, luxury travelers, snowbound travelers, TV lovers. So someone who wants to buy a TV becomes part of an in-market segment. But someone who likes watching TV, who keeps searching about TV shows, will become part of affinity audience known as TV lovers. So what Google Analytics is going to do is it will give you a detail of all the different affinity categories and in-market segments related to which people are coming on your website. Now let's look at some in-market segments. Perfect. So guys, these are some areas where you can use these in-market segments. So for performance campaigns, you can reach them to directly reach potential customers, directly reach people who might be interested in availing your services. Then mid-funnel marketing is again, it's sort of a brand recall which you want to create. So in case if someone has not converted yet, if someone has not become a customer of your brand yet, then you can retarget them, create a sort of brand recall using the mid-funnel marketing technique. And obviously, you can use it for remarketing also to basically reinstill some power in your cold leads. So cold leads, basically those which aren't converting, you can keep on targeting them again and again, until they become proper hot leads for your business. Now let's look at the list directly. So guys, these are the different in-market segments available. So you have apparel and accessories, autos and vehicles, uh, baby and children's products, beauty products and services, business services, computers and peripherals, consumer electronics, consumer software, dating services, education, employment, financial services, gifts and occasions, and so on. Real estate, home and garden, gifts and so again you can see these are not lifestyle related terminologies. They are more like momentary things or options that someone might be looking for. Okay, so because these are not really available for search network, because search network purely works on the basis of keywords. So what you can do is probably by looking at your in-market segments and affinity report, what you can do is you can do keyword research based on the results which you're getting. So let's say if you see a lot of people interested in real estate coming to your website, then you can probably target related keywords. So these are only useful for display and video ads, not for search ads, because search ads are purely based on the keywords that you want to target, right? So always, when you're confused about advertising, especially, just try to reverse engineer the process. So if I want to buy something, how am I going to search? I'm going to type a keyword, right? Suppose I want to buy shoes from Under Armour, then I will search for buy Under Armour shoes. So these are the results that I'm getting. These are all sponsored advertisements. So this is how I'm going to search. So affinity categories and in-market segments become irrelevant in the case of search ads. Now just look at the results. Surprisingly, Under Armour is not running any advertisement on this keyword, which is which is not great, because other competitors might just leverage this opportunity. So I can see all different products in the advertisements, but I cannot see anything from Under Armour except the results which are coming organically. Anyway, so I hope things are clear so far, guys. Do you have any questions? All right, so let's move to the next point now. So the drop-offs, again, like we were discussing, people who navigate from a particular step of the conversion funnel. So I'll be taking the same Motherland Hospital example again. Let's assume our funnel is uh, just the same as we were discussing previously. Step number one, user reaches the home page. Step number two, clicks on the inquiries button, reaches the inquiries page. Step number three, fills up this particular form and clicks on the send button. Now let's say if the person comes on the home page, then closes the tab, then I will know from where he has been. dropped off. So the customer has dropped off from the first step of the funnel. Similarly, if he clicks on, let's say, the inquiries page and then just navigates away, that means the person has dropped off from the second step of the funnel. Similarly, if he completes all the steps, then it means there is no drop off. The funnel has, gone a full circle. So let's come to our next point now. Hour of the day and day of the week is basically to give you data about what day of the week you're getting most traffic, and during each day, which is that specific hour, which is that specific time slot where you are getting the maximum number of people on your website. So it basically means that. So you can use this data later on to, get more. You can say to get more refined results from your Google ads, even from your Facebook ads, or any sort of advertising which allows you to run ads based on a schedule, because you will kind of have an idea about when are people more likely to search about topics related to my business. Then ad results and performance again, like we had discussed previously. You can check specific details about your website traffic based on the device that you want to target. So you can categorize your users under mobile, tablet, and desktop users. So guys, one more important point I want to add to this list. So let's also add bounce rate. So bounce rate is basically percentage of people navigating away after the first interaction with your website without clicking on a call to action. So basically, all the people who navigate away from your website without clicking anywhere, basically on a call to action or any link, that is bounce rate. Suppose if I open this page, or let's load a new website now. Let's go to donatella.co.in. So this is one website which I have just opened. Okay. So guys, now this will also answer Swadha's question, that this is my first interaction with this website. So far, I have not opened this website. This is my first interaction. This is a fresh session that I'm conducting on this website. Now I'm just scrolling through the content, looking at everything. I have not yet clicked anywhere. Now, if I just close this window without clicking on any link or any button on this website, any CTA, then it will be counted as 100% bounce rate. That means I have, just navigated away from the website without looking into further content of the website. So, do you think it's a positive signal or a negative signal for SEO of that website? It's a negative signal, right? Because it shows to the crawlers, to the algorithms of Google, that people are less interested in your content. So we need to lower this bounce rate as much as we can. So, for example, if I just click on this dresses image, it takes me to a different page. Now my bounce rate becomes zero because I have spent some time on the website, but I have also clicked on a different link, which is of the same website. Okay, so this is basically the meaning of bounce rate. So on an average, the bounce rate of a website should be below 40%. Now, in the case of e-commerce websites, normally it is much lower, because there are so many different areas to click. But if you talk about a blogging website, then bounce rate normally has a tendency to go really high because people do not read one article after the other in most cases. So some ways to reduce the bounce rate are by basically adding a subscription pop-up, or you can even add too many different internal links. You can add a read more button, like you must have seen on most blogging websites. If you open those blogging sites, they will not reveal the full article. So once you click on the read more button, the page will refresh and then they will show you the full article, or they will just add different pages in that particular article, like page 1, page 2. To view the next image, click on the next button, things like that, right? So this is basically the meaning of bounce rate. So Vikas says he has 37% bounce rate, which is fairly good, Vikas. And what category is your website? So please tell us your website category also. Travel website. So that's pretty good for a travel website. 37% is decent. So just try to keep a threshold of about 40% for your website so that you can have decent rankings in terms of SEO. So Swada, I guess your question is clear now. Your doubt is clear now. How it's different from drop off. So drop off is basically it's a part of a funnel, and bounce rate is in context of the entire website. And obviously, bounce rate relates only to the first interaction. So let's move to the next point. Real-time analytics. So you can always get how many people are live on your website, what device are they using, which location they are coming from, which browser they are using, what sort of language they are browsing in, which medium they are coming from. Are they coming from Facebook? Are they coming from LinkedIn? Are they coming from let's say by typing in Google search? Are they coming directly on your website? So all those details you can check under real-time analytics. Lakshmikant, for bounce rate, you can use Google Analytics. I think that is the best tool out there to check your bounce rate. So I'll be teaching you today how to configure analytics for your website. So after that, you'll be able to view the reports from tomorrow. From after 24 hours, you'll be able to check your bounce rate on a daily basis. So anything that I'm missing out on? Any questions? Okay, so we have, I think, a couple of more questions which I had missed out. So I missed out on one question from Kirti. Can we analyze Facebook and social media ads and social pages performance by using web analytics? So Kirti, for social media pages performance, we have different tools which we can discuss. So have you guys covered your social media module so far? Has your social media module been covered? Okay. So I think some of you have covered it and some of you have not covered it. So what I'm going to do is I will include a part of it in your analytics session also. It's a very basic thing. I mean, social media analytics are not really too complex. You can just check them from your social media accounts itself. So for your Facebook page, you have insights. For your Twitter handle also, you can check the insights from your Twitter ads account. Then there is one very interesting tool which is known as Fan Page Karma. and one more which is known as Social Blade. So just try to use these tools today after the class. I'm not going to go into details of these tools right now. Maybe we can just have a discussion around these later. So just sending you the links on the chat window. So Fanpage Karma and Social Blade. Very interesting tools, free tools for checking social media analytics. Okay, and especially if you want to know better about a YouTube channel, then you can definitely refer to Social Blade. So, can you name any one popular YouTube channel, guys? Any popular YouTube channel? T Series, Carrie Minati. Okay, let's take Carrie Minati. So, guys, this is his channel. So, let's say I want to get insights about Carrie Minati's channel. Then I will go to, I'll just copy his link. I'll go to this tool, or I don't even need to copy the link. I'll just search for Carrie Minati here. So this is the channel, the first one. So let's select it. You can look at the subscriber count to verify. So guys, this channel is ranked number 25 in entire India, and subscriber rank is 130th. That is worldwide. So you can check his estimated monthly earnings. You can check how many video views he has received in the last 30 days. So guys, this is what you can earn if you become a successful YouTuber. Now these are just earnings from Google AdSense, not from sponsorships or affiliate marketing. So this is only giving you an idea of his AdSense revenue. So he's making somewhere around 60 grand to $1 million a month apparently from YouTube. Then you have these individual subscriber count on a daily basis, then how many video views you're getting on a daily basis. So you can see every day he's getting about 4 million, 3 to 4 million new video views, which is a lot. So for about 1 million views, you get paid roughly around $1,000. So that is how, if I talk about a rule of thumb, if I just generalize the entire concept of YouTube running, so you make roughly about $1,000 for 1 million views. Imagine how much this guy is making on a daily basis just from YouTube, and he's a 19-year-old guy. So, which is more surprising. So, sky's the limit, literally, if you start building content and if you start doing really good on YouTube. So, you can make use of this tool. Similarly, you can also check fan page Karma. So, this will require registration, and it's a freemium tool. It has certain free features, but otherwise, the full-fledged tool is paid. But try to use it as an assignment. I'm giving you a small assignment. Try to make use of this tool and let me know in the next class what sort of results you got and whether you were able to use FanPage Karma or not. So please bookmark these links, both the links, Social Blade and FanPage Karma, sorry. All right, so now let's look at the next question. All right, so before moving to the next question, one more thing that I would like to add to the same question which was asked by Kirti. So, Kirti, in case you want to analyze social media ads, then in that case, you will have to set up UTM parameters. So, have you heard about the word UTM parameters, guys? Okay, so I think only Vikas is familiar with the concept. So, Vikas, can you give us some insight on these UTM parameters? All right. So I think okay. So we have an answer from Vikas. So these are links, and with these we can get to know from where exactly the traffic is coming used for ads. So he's very correct here in his answer. So guys, basically UTM parameters are tracking parameters which you can add to your advertisement's URL. So any ad is also going to open on a particular page, right? So suppose if I'm running an ad for this Modesto dress, then the landing page of that advertisement will be this link, donatella.co.in slash product slash Modesto dress. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to parameterize this. For example, source. Source equal to Facebook ads. Medium equals to traffic campaign. Ad equal to carousel ad. So you must have seen such links, I'm guessing, on many websites. So have you seen these words, source, medium, campaign, ad, such words in different links? So these are basically UTM parameters. So what you can do is you can create these UTM parameters in your while creating your campaign, and then you will have to configure them with your Google Analytics account. So once you do that, yes, you will be able to track some amount of your ads data also using Google Analytics. So let me show you one example of how these UTM parameters work. So let's go to Coupon Dunia. So I'm on coupondunia.com now, .in sorry. So let's click on these Flipkart offers. 80% off on electronics and accessories. So I'm going to click on this. So it says we are redirecting you to Flipkart. Now just look at the URL, this URL. Let's wait for it to open Flipkart. Okay, so they have actually hidden this link, so we can't really see. Let's try to look at a different example. Let's skip this example. Let's look for a different category. So I think they have hidden the parameters right now, but I would have otherwise shown you the example. Maybe I should try with a different website. Let's try NDTV News. Okay, guys, so this is the perfect example that we were looking for. So there was an advertisement of Kia on NDTV's website. Now just look at the link of this advertisement of the landing page. So do you see the words which I was discussing with you previously? Do you see source, medium, campaign, all these words written in this URL? So these are basically known as UTM parameters. So you can see under source it is written NDTV. So that Kia can basically analyze results, how many results they got specifically from NDTV. Then under with along with NDTV, they have also written the date. So I'm guessing that for every individual day, they have set up different UTM parameters. Okay. Then you can see click ID, and let's look at some other options. So campaign name is Seltos, NDTV 30th June. So this means they have bought space on NDTV specifically for 30th June only because that is the name of the campaign. So medium is equal to CPM. So guys, what is CPM? Any clue? What is CPM? Cost per mile, exactly. Cost per mile. So this also tells us that Kia is running this advertisement on CPM basis. Now let's look at other things. Source is again NDTV. That's it. So I hope it is clear to you, the UTM parameters part. All right. So now if I just remove this entire URL and if I paste the link of this page, you will see that the same page will open. So again, the same page is only opening. It's just that previously there were tracking parameters attached to the URL. So that was the answer to Kirti's question. Now let's move to the next question, which is by Vikas. So these are the links, and with these we can get. Okay, so that's your answer. Sorry, that's not your question. Okay, so I'm just scrolling upwards. Is Google Tag Manager a part of analytics in this course? So because Google Tag Manager is not really a part of analytics, but it's a different tool which will help you in getting better results from your Google Analytics account. So once we proceed a little further into the course, then we will be looking at Google Tag Manager also. So most likely we will create an account of Tag Manager in our next class. We might cover it by next Tuesday, as per my understanding. So that's a different topic which is related to analytics. So it's very much important if you talk about Google Analytics, but as a tool, it is separate. So just like you create an account on Analytics, you need to create an account on Google Tag Manager also. So Tag Manager is basically a tool which helps you keep all your tracking codes in one place. So instead of installing too many plugins on your website, instead of adding codes directly in the HTML code of your website, in the header and footer of your website, you can instead add all the codes in Google Tag Manager, and you can combine your Tag Manager account along with your this Google Analytics account to track conversions. So you need Tag Manager in Google Analytics to track conversions on your website. Suppose if I want to check how many clicks I'm getting on a particular button on my website, how many page views I'm getting on a specific page of my website. All of that I can track using Google Tag Manager. All right. So let me look at the next question now. So Sharika, there are quite a lot of different points that will be covered, as the course proceeds, mainly related to analytics. So we can have a look at social media analytics. We'll have a look at Google Tag Manager and how conversion tracking works, how Google Search Console and Google Ads work along with Google Analytics. So these are in a nutshell all the points which we will be discussing. So guys, any other queries so far before we proceed? Perfect. So I think I need not go into detail of sessions and unique visitors since we have already discussed that part. Now let's come to goal tracking. So goal tracking is again, guys, the conversion funnel part which we were discussing. That how you can check whether a person has fulfilled all the steps of a conversion funnel. Then location and language is self-explanatory. Internet service provider, again, it's self-explanatory. So guys, I'll tell you why it is important to track ISPs, because there are certain advertising platforms which help you target people based on the internet service provider which they are using. For example, Snapchat ads. So if you use Snapchat ads, it actually allows you to target people based on the service provider they are using. For example, Geo or Airtel or Idea, Vodafone, or any similar company for that matter. So I think we have discussed all the basic points. So lastly, you can also check how how keywords are performing for your business, and using what keywords or queries people are actually able to discover your business. Now, before we proceed, I want to ask you guys, do you have your analytics accounts ready, or you are yet to create a Google Analytics account? All right, so I think most of you are yet to create an analytics account. So we'll be doing that practical part today now. And also, I want to ask you a question. Do you have an account on Search Console? Perfect. So Search Console, you guys already have an account, so we can just combine both the things together. So just to show you guys how it really works, I'm going to start creating Google Analytics account on a fresh website. So I have created a new Gmail ID for the same. So just follow the screen now. It's a relatively simple topic. I mean, the creation part is really simple. So what you need to do is step number one, go to Google Analytics. So you can simply search for Google Analytics, and you need to open the first link. So I'm going to mention all the steps in your notes. Link to register for Google Analytics. So Gmail ID is required for this. So let's open the link. So I hope I'm already logged into my Gmail ID. So I'm just going to log out now. So I have just signed out of my website. So I'm going to use a new ID. So guys, it says welcome to Google Analytics, start measuring. So you're going to see the screen first of all. So you need to click on start measuring. Now this is your account creation page. So first of all, you need to understand that in Google Analytics, there is one main account, and within that main account, you can add multiple websites. You can add up to 50 properties. So any website or any mobile app that you are tracking through Google Analytics is known as a web property. So you can add up to 50 different web properties. And you can also add different users. So for example, if I create this main account, I can add different admins to this account who can view my analytics data. All right, so I hope things are clear so far. Let's add the account name. So I'm going to call it Ambrose India. So Ambrose is the name of the company whose website we are going to track. So these are some options which Google is asking you to select. If you want, you can select them. Otherwise, you can just unselect all these options. Then click on next. So once you click on next, it's going to ask you whether you want to track your website or mobile app or both. So I want to track my website, which is basically this ambrose.co.in. So I'm just going to copy this link, go back to analytics. So I have selected website, click on next. No, Sharika, we cannot track any website. So you will figure out in the next step why we cannot track any website, because you need to be an authorized admin of that website. Otherwise, life would have become much simpler. If I want to track a website and app both, then what should I select? Then you should select the third option, track both app and website. Or you can even create a separate account, separate for the app, separate for the website. So website name is again Ambrose Solar. So you need to select the HTTP protocol. So in my case, I'm using an SSL certificate. That's why I have selected HTTPS. So in case you're not using an SSL certificate, then my suggestion, please get one. Otherwise, if you can't get an SSL right now, just select HTTP. Then you need to select your industry. So in case you're not able to find your industry here, then don't worry. Just select other. Okay. Then you need to select your reporting time zone. Click on the create button. Agree to the policies. Accept the details. Save the settings. All right. So guys, now our Google Analytics account for ambrose.co.in has been created. So every website gets this unique tracking ID. So this is the unique tracking ID which I was talking about. So in my case, this is UA171315976 Okay. So basically this implies that this is my universal tracking code. And since this is the first property of this account, so there is one written ahead of it. Now, answer to Sharika's question as to why you cannot track any website. That is because when you want to enable Google Analytics tracking, you need to add your tracking code. So you need to add this in the header of the website. So unless you don't add this code, you will not be able to connect your website with Google Analytics. So only authorized admins of an of a website can perform this step. So I hope your query is clear now. So guys, there are two, three different ways of connecting your website with analytics. Number one, you add the script in the header. Now to add the script, you can directly open the source code of your website and paste it in the header, which we can't really do because we are not developers, right? So another step is to add a insert headers and footers plugin. So insert headers and footers plugin. Insert headers and footers WordPress plugin. So there are many other similar plugins. For example, you have insert header, footer, and post injections. So this plugin will also do the same job. Again, to add different tracking codes, you can use it, but we will not be using this method. Then there is another dedicated plugin for Google Analytics, which is known as Monster Analytics, Monster Insights Google Analytics plugin. So this is also a WordPress plugin. So this Monster is basically their logo. So this is the most popular way of adding Google Analytics on a WordPress website. So just like you can see, it is written here also. Monster Insights is the best Google Analytics plugin for WordPress. So I'm going to mention this in your notes so that you remember. So we'll be actually using this plugin only. Then there is a third way out, which says that you can add Google Tag Manager. I mean, you'll have to create an account on Google Tag Manager. You will have to link it with your website, which we're going to do later on. And then within Tag Manager, you will have to create a Google Analytics tag. So that tag will do the tracking for you. So that is another way. So on motherlandhospital.com, I have used that technique only because I wanted to reduce the number of plugins that I was using. So on this website, I am using Google Tag Manager for analytics, but on most other websites which I have built, for example, like the e-commerce website which I had shown you, donatella.co.in, on this website I'm using Monster Insights Analytics plugin. So I'll just log into this site and show you how exactly the results will appear. So guys, once you log in, you can just go to the Insights option after you have configured the plugin successfully. Okay. So this is how within the website only it will start showing you all the results. So you can see the number of sessions, number of page views, average session duration. That is basically how much time on an average each user is spending on the website. Then bounce rate is also visible. It's about 50%. So we are also going to use this plugin. Now you can see top 10 countries, top 10 referrals. So these are all the websites from where I have received traffic on my website. Then device breakdown is visible, like desktop is 11%, tablet is 0, mobile is 89%. So this means most of the traffic is coming from mobile. Then new versus recurring visitors. So returning visitors are 33%, new visitors are 67%, which is good because I want more and more new people to come on my website every day. So this plugin also gives you a snapshot of your Google Analytics data. So it also has given me details of the top pages and posts on my website. So these are the top performing pages on the site. For example, the home page followed by dresses page, then tops, trousers, shrugs, then the shop page. So you get all the related results, that you want. Okay, then you can even get your e-commerce data. So you'll have to unlock that report by upgrading to the pro version, which I do not recommend right now. So you can just use the free version for the time being. So we're going to now add Google Analytics on ambrose.co.in using the same plugin. So guys, I don't need these codes now. I just need to be logged into my Google Analytics account. The next step is to first go to your WordPress dashboard. Here you need to go to plugins and then add new. So once you go to add new plugins, you have to search for Monster Insights. So here we have 2 million plus active installations, great rating of 4.5, over 1,855 reviews. Google Analytics dashboard plugin for WordPress by Monster Insights. So you need to install this plugin. So in my case, it is already active. So I already have this installed on my website. In case it's not installed, you'll have to click on the install button and activate it. Now what you need to do next is you have to go to your insights option and then go to settings. So normally when you create a fresh account, it automatically starts running the analytics wizard. So I will be launching the setup wizard again. So when you activate the plugin, this page opens. Monster Insights. Welcome to Monster Insights. So you need to first select what category your website will fit in. So my website is a business website. Save and continue. Now connect Monster Insights. So it will ask you to log into your account now. So it says pick a profile for Ambrose's blog. So you can see this tracking ID UA1713159561. This is exactly the same as it is here, which means I am connecting the right website. Sometimes what can happen is you might be running more than one Google, analytics properties on the same analytics account. In that case, you will have to choose from the drop-down menu which property you want to track. So I want to track all website data of ambrose.co.in and then click on complete connection. So this is it. After you do that, you just need to click on save and continue. You can skip these suggestions which they are giving, not required. You can skip all the other suggestions, and that is it. So our wizard is now finally set. That was all we had to do. Now let's go to our Google Analytics account. Let's go to the home. So here you can see there is no data available in the present moment because I have just created my account. So nothing is visible here, no users, no sessions, no bounce rate, no session duration. So guys, one little step which you need to also perform. Once you do this, you need to go to behavior, or let me just click on it. So not exactly on behavior, you need to go to audience. Now under audience, I'll be going to demographics, overview. So there are certain reports which you need to enable. So make sure you enable these reports, demographics report and these interest reports. So you can see in market segments and affinity categories here. So the reports are also configured. Adding these steps also in your notes. So step number one, create analytics account. Step number two, install and activate Monster Insights plugin in WordPress. Next step, follow the setup instructions. And lastly, go to Google Analytics. Next step, go to audiences. And lastly, activate, or let's write the correct word, enable demographic reports. So these are all the steps which you need to perform. So I hope things are clear so far. So let me now look at your queries. So Lakshmikant has asked us a solution for Wix. So Lakshmikant, I'll send you the link here. So you can refer to this article for how you can add it to your Wix website. Please follow the steps. Make sure you bookmark this link. So steps are more or less similar. You need to just, just create your Google Analytics account. Then you'll get your tracking ID. So once you get your tracking code, so tracking code is again that UA code only which we had received. In case you miss that screen, just go to your admin panel by clicking on the settings wheel. So in your admin panel, you can find your tracking info, which is right here. So just click on tracking info, go to tracking code, and here you will find your tracking ID and also your global site tag, which is a JavaScript code. After that, the next step you need to perform is you need to go to marketing integration. So marketing integrations is a part of your Wix website. So you'll have to log into your Wix account and then configure all the rest of the steps. Pretty simple, I believe. So I hope Lakshmikant, your query is also clear. All right. So coming back to Monster Insight. So guys, I think we'll be winding up for today's session because the other topics which we have to discuss will require further explanation and more time. So before day of, the next class which will be on Thursday. Uh, if there are any queries out of whatever we have discussed so far, you can just ask me. So there's one more thing which I need to explain to you guys before we end the session. So I want all of you to go to ambrose.co.in. Please open this website. I'm sharing the link in your chat window. Let's see if we are getting real-time analytics reports because that is something which we can just start getting immediately. So I am going to my analytics home. Under this, I'll go to real time and then overview. So guys, can you please open this link, ambrose.co.in. All right, so we have one member there already, another one. So 3 members now. Okay, so one person from desktop, it says. Let us refresh the page. So technically there should be 5 people, I think. So guys, somehow it is showing only 2 people right now. So one is on the company profile page, the other is on the Wet Wipes page, and the users have come from Western India. So let's look at their location. So let's see who's coming from. So who's coming from Mumbai? So who's from Mumbai out of us? So Sharika has come from Mumbai and Swapnil also. And we have one more person coming from Pune. So who's from Pune? So I think Swapnil, are you from Pune? All right. So one more member who has joined us from Pune. So currently 2 people are here. So one more person from Noida. Who's from Noida? So probably could be my location as well. But I'm since I'm an admin, so my data is not being tracked. So we have one more from Faridabad. So I'm going to open this website in my mobile now. So you will see one more user coming from Noida. So Kirti is in Gurgaon. Probably Kirti, it's taking your location as Faridabad. That could be due to IP conflict. So we have one user from Ahmedabad. Yeah, there might be some glitch because we have just configured. Let's see the number of users now, the total number of users. So it's only showing 5 right now. In fact, I am also on this website from mobile. So I am right now from here from on my mobile device, but it's somehow not picking up, the information properly. So after 24 hours, to be honest, Google Analytics starts working at its full potential. So before 24 hours, it's kind of haywire only. So it shows one user from mobile now, and that user must be me. I'm guessing. Yes, it's me only because I'm on the company profile page, and the location is also mine. So it's showing Delhi right now. So it's close to my location. So I'm in Noida basically, but it's showing the location as Delhi because uh, I'm located kind of near the border of both the cities. So guys, this is how basically you can view your data. You can look at the traffic sources. So in the traffic sources, I'm sure it must be showing direct. So you can see the sources direct because we have directly come to the website. So that will be all for today's session. So just request all of you to hold on to the session for 2 more minutes. So to check the location, you need to, I'll just take you to the steps again. You need to go to real time, and under real time you will find locations option. So once you're on your home page, just go to real time under reports, and below real time only you will have traffic sources. All right, so I'm just going to share the feedback form link with you. Please make sure you guys fill it up. It's kind of necessary, and that will be all. So not going to take more than 2 more minutes. I guess I happened to share the wrong wrong link. So just give me a while, guys. So I'll be sending these notes through your coordinator, but I want you to also copy them from the chat window. So just sending you these notes also. Please make sure you copy them, whatever we have discussed today. So guys, the feedback link has also been shared with you, and I had a really good time with all of you, and I'm guessing that you will make excellent marketers because everyone seems to be very focused with whatever interaction we had today. So hoping for the best, and let's meet on Thursday at the same time around 8 o'clock. And hope you enjoyed the session as well. So that's it, guys. I'll be signing off now. So please copy this, all these details which are there in the chat window, and make sure that you fill up the feedback form as well. So Lakshmikant, just a little small step which you need to do. Need to configure your analytics account and just have a look at the glossary of analytics related terms which I have shared in the chat message. So I'm just sharing it again separately with all of you. Just make sure that you go through this link once, and that will be all. All right, guys, have a good night, stay safe, and see you on Thursday.